First of all, clearly I don't have a video camera. And for the only time in my life, it would have helped having one. It seemed a bit bloody late to buy one, this being the last afternoon of my life. But because I want to leave a record of the extraordinary events that have happened these last few days, I'm talking into this. Ridiculously out of date, of course. And I haven't used it since I practiced doing football and cricket commentaries on it at the age of 12 3/4. But it does work. It's still functioning. It's rather good quality, in fact. And every now and again, I'm going to take a picture of myself. That's not strictly necessary, of course, I know, but I want to do that. And together they will form something, hopefully, that can be kept, published, even used by the mass media. And not even, I shouldn't have said that. Must be used by the mass media. So why the hell should they be interested in a chubby man wearing a cardie talking into old tape machine? How can that be a blazingly urgent, vitally important? Come on, Morty. You're doing really well. So, why should we care? Or rather, why should you care? Because what hit me was such a wallop, and it was a wallop, can happen to anyone, has happened to a lot of people. Anybody who has suddenly lost their job, or house, or even business, or just had somebody promoted above them. Anybody who knows how that feels, this is for you. I'll just finish this piece. Let's get going. So, it's the 21st of December, and we're in London. It's slightly amazing to think it's only a few days ago this all started. Made myself rather hungry eating that now. Okay, I'll wait. So, a large 18th century house just outside central London. This house was built for his mistress by the Earl of Halifax. And when they'd finished with it, it fell on hard times until a 19th century confectionery firm rescued it. They were famous for their toffees and chocolates. Apparently the finest toffees of the age. Like a lot of 19th century firms, they had philanthropic leanings and started an institute for the improvement of Londoners in this house. Somehow, nobody's sure quite how, they started collecting photographs. And this flowered during the years into the Fallon Photo Library and Collection. It just grew and grew. The institute passed into the hands of an insurance company. Rather benign outfit that kept to themselves in one part of the house. The Fallon Photo Library and Collection continued to be run as a quiet business. And besides, it's an exceptionally magical place. As you will see, our friendly insurance company sails up and leaves London. And the day comes, we have to meet our new owners. We have no idea. Nobody believes me, but we have no idea what sort of day it was to be. No inkling. It was to be such a momentous, mind-shattering sort of day.
They're here! They're here already!
It's okay, there's no need for us to rush.
Come on, everybody, they're here! Come on.
Here we are, ready for you. And you're splendidly punctual, which is a very good start. I'm Marilyn Truman.
Christopher Anderson.
So, this is Oswald Bates, who, if you like, is second in command here. Not that we use terms like that. And this is Veronica. Then there are the young ones, Spig, who insists we call her that, and Nick, who never wants to be called anything at all. Now, come this way. I'm sure you want the grand tour.
We're going to give you the grand tour, whether you like it or not. We've got a little treat for you as well.
The grand tour.
Fortunately, the one thing we have is space. We do have lots of space.
Mr. Anderson does have a meeting on site in a few minutes.
And somehow we still have our own in-house cooking, even though there are only 5 of us. Rather wicked, I know.
So, we've laid on what we thought would appeal. Donuts, of course. Californian wine, perhaps a little later. A full 11s anyway, so you can make complete pigs of yourself.
And if you're really starving, and none of this appeals, Molly might just rustle up something hot.
Her roly-poly pudding is justly famous.
Miss Truman, I need to have a word.
Of course. Fire away.
I need a private word.
So, do tell me exactly what you're doing with the rest of the building. It's becoming a business school, isn't it?
Yes.
A sort of American LSE, is that right? That is the London School of Economics. There are a lot of rather suspicious colleges dotted about this city, I gather. The American School of this and that. But of course you won't be one of those. Altogether a higher class of establishment, I'm sure.
Miss Truman, please. I don't think you realize.
Realize what?
That there seems to have been a major breakdown in communication.
Really? In what way? I don't believe so. Here you are, and 11 says was waiting for you.
I have no idea how this happened, because you acknowledged all our letters and said you understood exactly.
Every letter we sent you was replied to.
You must know this, Miss Truman.
No. We can do this all day, a guessing game. I've no idea what you're talking about.
You want to sit?
No, thank you. I'm quite happy like this.
Miss Truman, the library, your business, is being closed.
Closed? That's ridiculous. Who's closing it?
It's not ridiculous. It's what is happening. We'll have copies of the correspondence faxed to you, but I'm sure you must have seen them.
What do you mean I must have seen them?
The letters were addressed to Mr. Bates, to a Mr. Oswald Bates.
And several months ago as well. The notice of closure.
Well, closure is impossible, clearly.
Marty. No, I've not quite got there yet. I'll be there in a few minutes. Excuse me a moment.
Do you know what they just told me?
What? Let me guess. They don't like the 11s. They were offended by the donuts.
Oswald, did you at any time receive a letter saying they were shutting us down?
Shutting us down? Absolutely not. Not a single word.
Never.
Never, I promise you.
And you didn't reply to any letters?
If I didn't receive any, how'd I reply?
I thought so.
They can't shut us down.
I know.
Don't accept anything. Don't accept a single thing. Not even their right to be in your office.
You are under contract to have had those delivered 3 days ago on site. They're not here, and that's the end of the story.
I never got that.
Well, it's not like that from this end. Listen, I don't care if your boss joined the Ringling Brothers Circus, moved to Sardinia, and launched an Eastern European tour. It makes no difference to me.
What'd he say?
Because they're not here, and that's the problem.
That wasn't part of the package.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Why was that?
But I don't care. I know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think since we happen to be in my office, maybe we can deal with this first.
No, I told you I'd be going straight over there. No, it won't be as bad as that.
I gotta go.
No way.
Well, I've talked to my staff, and there has been no correspondence. No correspondence with you, as I thought. No prior warning, not one hint.
They're lying to you.
I think you'd be extremely well advised not to make any more remarks like that.
What Bill meant was that just cannot be the case. We just checked. We know for a fact there were 4 letters sent to Mr. Oswald Bates. We were advised Mr. Bates dealt with all the business side of the library. And we received replies to all these letters saying you were taking all necessary steps to comply.
We were taking necessary steps, were we? And what did these letters say we were complying with exactly?
They said these buildings were to be developed and become the headquarters of the American School of Business for the 21st century, or the 21st School for short.
Yes, yes.
And they went on to say that the valuable pictures, which we understand are kept in a separate room, we would dispose of those ourselves. And the rest of the collection, buyers should be sought for different sections, and we left that up to you.
You can't split up the collection.
Miss Truman.
You cannot. You simply cannot split up the collection. First you tell me it is to be closed, and then you tell me it is to be split up. There is no way I can allow that to happen. It is unique. It is the finest...
We have to be realistic here.
I am being realistic. That is precisely what I am being. And I'm telling you, there is no way that can happen. Don't take that call, please.
I have to be on the other side of the site in a few minutes. I have a meeting.
A few minutes. That's all I've got. How many is a few minutes?
How many? Say 5.
At the outside. 5 at the outside.
I'm not very used to time pressures like that.
Miss Truman, I understand this mix-up of communication. Let's leave aside for a moment how it happened. I realize that this comes as a shock.
Well, I'm not just going to sit here sounding outraged, because clearly that is not getting us anywhere. I will merely say that what you have outlined is not an option. Splitting the collection. That will never happen while I'm around. So, we will have to sit down calmly and work out an alternative home for the collection in a sensible fashion.
Miss Truman.
If you're waiting for me to say, please call me Marilyn, you'll forgive me, but I'm not going to say that. Let's keep this as formal as we can. The idea that this is our fault, though I said I wouldn't sound outraged, that is outrageous.
Miss Truman, the situation, I think, is a little starker than maybe you realize.
I don't see how that can be possible.
I'm afraid it is possible.
These buildings are being stripped out, completely rebuilt. That has to start in 4 days' time if we're to have a chance of meeting our schedule. And naturally, it has to start on the ground floor of the site. Do you understand what this means, Miss Truman? It means all these rooms have to be empty. I was expecting when I arrived here today to see everything packed up and on the way out. On this timescale, clearly there's absolutely no chance of finding a buyer for the collection.
No chance, no?
The brutal facts are, the handful of valuable pictures are worth about 400,000 pounds sterling, that is. And the entire rest of the collection is worth about 160,000. That is, if you could sell every single picture. The hard economics are, Miss Truman, 160,000 pounds is a mere fraction of what even a few days' delay on the site would cost. And the cost of storage elsewhere for such a huge collection is, of course, enormous. So, we'll take the valuable pictures and all the rest will have to be disposed of. They will have to be destroyed. Clearly, it gives me no pleasure to say this. That goes without saying. Miss Truman.
Yeah. It's gonna be a few minutes. It's no problem. We will. Okay.
Miss Truman.
I've said I don't accept it. I can't let it happen. I'm thinking. I'm desperately thinking of what to do. At this precise moment, at this absolute precise moment, I haven't a clue. I can't really believe you've said what you just have. I mean, just a few minutes ago. Literally a few minutes ago. I was greeting you. Everything was sunny, and we were about to make a great fuss of you.
Yes, well, I have to say, I've never encountered this situation before in 15 years, where people have carried on regardless in the face of closure. And the effect is devastating, clearly. When communications were acknowledged, but nothing stirred.
Nothing stirred. What sleepy people we must appear. Just to show we're not completely dopey, I want one thing.
And what is that?
I want you to see the collection.
Well, of course, that'd be interesting, but I have a schedule.
I really think you should see the collection before you destroy it.
I didn't cause this situation. I wish it was other than it is, but I will not be made to feel...
That was crass of me. I'm sorry. I was just getting somewhere, and then I said that. You'll come and see the collection after your big meeting. Come on. What have you got to lose? A quick walk?
Miss Truman, I don't want to sound like a lawyer, but you must tell me you accept the situation.
I accept we have a problem.
No. I need to know you understand what's happening. The library is closing.
I'll understand if you see the collection.
We'll call with the time. It'll have to be in the next 3 hours.
Can you believe this?
Are you ready for a drink now, then? Would you like to take a bottle with you? They'll be appalled. Absolutely appalled if they could see this. A full sit-down service.
Well, I'm sure if we do our best to be reasonable, but if we do our very best, they will see sense.
No way. It's just business to them. They're killers. By the end of the day, we'll be finished.
Marilyn will handle it. You'll see. Besides, I have a plan.
You do?
I do. And it's simple. We should still be here, eating lunch when they arrive.
That's a plan.
Very much so. And a surprisingly good one. No, contrary to appearances, I'm serious. If we're still here, eating a formal meal, it will suggest instantly that they're dealing with irrational people, with crazes. And they'll think, what do these guys do when they're faced with the biggest crisis in their life? They eat a 5-course lunch as if nothing has happened. Yeah, it'll be very alarming.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. The one thing any business dreads is dealing with people that don't respond to any rules, don't show enough fear, which we won't. These characters we're dealing with need fear. Everything in their life is fear. Deadlines, hirings, firings, all fear. Remove fear from the equation, and you're saying, I don't care. I'm faced with extinction, but I just don't care. And then they'll get worried. And they'll think, these assholes, they could do anything. They could burn down the building if they wanted, which clearly we could. And then our American friends will decide. We must be much more careful. We must give these guys a lot more time. So, I've taken the liberty of extending the menu. After the melon, we're going to have blackcurrant sorbet, and then corn on the cob, and then a roast.
We're going to eat our way to victory.
Couldn't think of a better way.
Oswald, Can I have a word?
Absolutely. Perhaps between the third and fourth courses?
So?
So?
Oswald, they're coming back pretty shortly, and no matter how hard I keep thinking, it's clear that if I don't have any cards to play, that is going to be that.
You don't agree with my analysis? My eating offensive?
Be serious, Oswald, please.
But I was making a serious point. We have two choices, and only two. Do something truly perverse to make them doubt our sanity.
Maybe we don't have to work too hard at that.
Which is the choice, as you know, I favour. I know you don't believe me. There are many successful historical precedents. At the Battle of Austerlitz, for instance, some Austrian deserters sat down in the middle of the battlefield and started having lunch while under fire. A picnic. They escaped the firing squad quite easily because of insanity.
What's the second choice, Oswald?
Play dirty.
How?
There's only one thing those guys are interested in. And that, of course, is money. Sex, too, probably. I'm not sure Spig is up to it.
Go on.
Well, it's extremely simple. Blindingly obvious, in fact. We have a few very valuable photographs. So instead of leaving them locked away very conveniently in a little room for the Americans to come and collect, we sprinkle them away amongst the collection. We lose them in all the other pictures. You try finding them among 10 million photographs if you don't know where to look. It's like trying to find the right piece of hay in a haystack. They'll never do it.
You mean you give us more time to find a home for the collection, or you don't ever find the pictures?
You've got it in one.
That's blackmail.
Of course. It's great, isn't it? It's the only language I understand. So, where do we start? Our prize fish, the Man Ray. Probably go for about 120,000. Where should we put it? Among the Woolworth shop fronts of the 1950s?
If I were in Mr. Anderson's position and somebody did this, I would immediately lose all respect for them at a stroke.
You think he respects us?
He could be made to.
Are you out of your mind? He thinks we're pathetic, dusty people that just stepped out of a Ealing comedy with Margaret Rutherford. That's what he thinks, that we're bumbling prats. Well, these prats are going to sink their teeth into his fleshy parts. It's the only thing prats like us can do.
It would irritate me. It would enrage me if somebody did this.
We want to enrage him.
I'm not sure. I don't think we'll ever prevail being this childish. Things don't work like that.
Where don't they work like that?
Outside, out there.
Out there? What do you know about that? You go out and about even less than I do. Do you want to save this collection or not?
It might buy us time. But I'm also not sure he won't just destroy the whole collection with these inside if he can't find them.
It'd be crackers to do that. We'll get his whole project terrible publicity. Nobody's going to torch this place if they can't find these. You'll see. See, it was very quick.
So how long have I got this time?
I said I'd look at the collection in exchange for you understanding and accepting the situation.
We'll be taking calls and doing any business we need to from here. Everything is under control.
That's reassuring.
And before we plunge in, I have an announcement for the employees here. We'll be conducting interviews to see if we can employ you elsewhere in the administrative section of our new project. So nobody need be out of a job. Subject to interview, of course.
So it means nothing because it's subject to interview.
I'm sure you can handle it. So, everybody understand that? Let's take a look.
Okay, you guys. Let's start firing.
Firing? What do you mean? Nobody's firing anybody.
No, fire away at me. I'll find you anything you want within 7 seconds.
7 seconds.
Is that too long? Yeah, 7 seconds is quite long. You're right. We'll make it 5.
I take it you're computerized.
You think we have computers here? It'd take years to get all this lot catalogued and online. Of course we don't have computers. It's all in here. So shoot! Since the word fire makes you nervous. Shoot now, anybody! What do you want? The giant squid? It always goes down well. It's widely believed that nobody's ever photographed a giant squid alive and underwater. But we have a picture taken 50 years ago of precisely that. Do you want to see the giant squid?
We'll pass on the giant squid.
Some people think it's a fake. It's just a run-of-the-mill calamari held up close to the camera. But personally, I think it's the real giant caught in all its glorious murkiness. Do you want me to find it?
I think it'd be a better test, wouldn't it, if we nominated the subject?
Of course, that's what I meant. I was just a little overeager to show you the squid, that's all. So shoot!
Well, you probably wouldn't have a picture, but my hometown, Emporia, in Virginia.
Too easy.
It's not that easy. It's not a very big town.
I'm telling you, it's too easy.
Okay, our street then. Lamonia Avenue. I bet you...
Here it is. Emporia.
Jesus, there it is.
And then... we get closer. Just like a computer blow-up. We zoom, and then... the main street of Emporia. And then... the corner of Chestnut Tree Avenue and Lamonia Avenue.
There it is.
A sleepy time. A sleepy place. Were you there then? Do you see yourself? A little head sticking out. A little freckled face. You're there somewhere saying, "Hey, Dad, let's go close the local museum. It's not worth shit."
Well, thanks for finding that.
Come on, everyone, there's a lot to see.
Well, how long did it take? We didn't get an official timing for finding the picture. So shoot again, anybody!
Shall we see the Prime collection? The really valuable pictures?
Yes, but perhaps before we go there, you'd like to see our portrait section.
No, that's boring. Come on, this way. Gets worse, too.
Much more unexpected is this. Our erotica. Mostly Edwardian and Victorian erotica.
There are some very beautiful pictures in here.
Some naughty snaps from the 20s, too.
Feels rather sad in here. A lot of yearning.
That's good, yes. Yearning. Something I know all about. Would you like to see our images of obsession? Obsession is always interesting, isn't it? A rather plump, nude woman from a seaside resort in 1910, photographed in an astonishing series of poses and interesting positions.
Shall we move on? I want to see the great pictures.
That's easy. This way. And here we are, the strong room. Oh, my goodness. They've gone.
They were moved a few months ago to other parts of the collection for security reasons.
For security reasons? You moved them out of the strong room?
Yes, there have been various burglaries of other collections where they lost all their best pictures because they were so easy to find.
So where were we brought in here, then?
To whet your appetite. So, what next? How about shop front? We've got a fine collection of Woolworths from the 1950s.
I think we better have a word.
Oh, not interested in shop fronts? Never want to look at these again now.
You know, Miss Truman, if I was to believe that those pictures have been moved today, distributed amongst all the other photos so we can't find them. If I was to believe that...
That has not happened.
If I was to believe that, I would form a truly low opinion of whoever had done that.
I would never do something as crude as that. You will get your pictures.
So let's see them.
You will see them.
Now?
Any moment. I want you to be able to appreciate the full collection.
I've seen the collection.
No, you haven't. You haven't even begun. There are all sorts of things here. All kinds of pictures with incredible stories attached. Where we are right now, for instance, where we're standing, within 3 feet of us, there are 6 or 7 hair-raising things. Like here.
You know the contents of every box without even reading the label.
Not everyone, no. So in here, there are the 3 fat brothers that committed a very bizarre murder with 3 apples and a crossbow. The William Tell murder.
Miss Truman, I've explained the situation and you've agreed and accepted it. However hard you try to weave a spell, that won't alter anything.
You don't want to hear the stories?
I've got time for one.
Just one? I thought you had all the time in the world.
I've got the time for one.
10 million pictures. One story. Out of all this.
Some challenge, huh?
Right.
You know what I really don't like about today? It's how suddenly I've become the villain of all this. How I'm made out to be no better than any number-crunching moron who comes marching in and says, flush the whole thing down the waste disposal right now. That really annoys me. In fact, you know nothing about me.
No, I don't. You're right. Why don't you tell me?
I think we'll leave that for another time.
But I thought there wasn't going to be another time.
Not another time like this, no. What I find really strange is I've been forced into having to take this position because of incompetence at your end, the negligence of Mr. Oswald Bates, but nobody seems to mention that. And what's more, what we're doing with the 21st school suddenly becomes like we're putting up a piece of cheap real estate. Yet another hotel or car park or something. Instead of what we're actually doing, which is planning a really progressive educational establishment.
A business school.
A unique outfit, which is not just another way of making money.
Good. I'm glad you're not just making money. That's reassuring.
On top of this, you've disappeared the most important pictures. So we have to act like in a children's story now? Like the bad guys in Tom Thumb? I refuse to be that. I'm not going around shaking people saying, where are the pictures? Get me the pictures.
Right. So you're not saying, get me the pictures anymore?
I'm not gonna say it. But I'm not leaving today without them.
Thought you could do with this. Help you to survive. Because you'll need it. Ice.
What's gonna happen here?
Just a story.
It's not a horror story. It's not gonna be body parts. Trying to shock?
Certainly not. All electronics off, please.
But I gotta keep...
All of them off. It's important to watch closely.
A little girl.
A little girl, yes.
Going for the heartstrings, then.
I hope so. A little Jewish girl, Lily Katzman, in Berlin.
Jewish, too. A Holocaust story. It won't be difficult to move me. I get affected very quickly by these stories. You've taken an easy route.
Don't jump to conclusions. Lily Katzman was the daughter of a doctor who was also an amateur photographer. Her father made many studies of her. He worshipped her with his camera. The persecution of the Jews starts, of course. The family split up. The mother and father go into hiding. Somehow, Lily becomes part of this household, this family, because she doesn't look too Jewish. The Ollendorfs adopted her, a rich, upper bourgeois family. One little girl appears in their midst, explained away, no doubt, as a distant niece. The matriarch of the family probably wasn't aware what was really going on. A very unusual situation in itself. This rich, completely conventional family, harboring a Jewish child, putting the whole family at great risk. Nobody knows why it happened. A love child, secret affair. Or were they being brave in a way that so few others were?
Or was there Jewish blood in the family that nobody outside guessed at?
Lily is not allowed out of the house, though she is allowed to greet visitors. But then one day, it is arranged for her to see her parents. They are in hiding, living in a basement room in a house on the other side of the city. The plan is for her to meet her father first, at some halfway point. He will then take her to a public park to meet her mother. He meets her.
He does?
Yes. But when he sees her, the father, he wants to buy her something.
Buy her something? That's a risk. It's dangerous.
He wants to give her a present. His daughter. He doesn't know when he'll see her again. The most natural thing in the world. While Lily window shops, looking for something to buy, they try to appear as normal as possible. Try not to move too quickly, not to seem too rushed. Just a father with his daughter, taking pictures.
But her mother is waiting. They have to reach her.
Yes. They must have been acutely aware of time. Maybe they didn't buy anything after all because of her.
There she is. So they do meet in the park?
Yes. Their last meeting. Her papa records the moment. A few minutes together. While the Berliners promenade around them in the park. But then something happens in the park.
Sieh dir an, sie ist jüdisch. Sieht man doch, dass den würde ich nicht über den Weg trauen. Oh, das kann man schau mal wieder. Die Kleine da.
We don't know what happens. But the mother decides they must leave immediately. She goes first. The last time she saw her mother.
So who survived this story? Who wrote it down? Did Lily?
Her father takes a couple of final pictures. Then he leaves.
He leaves her there, alone in the park.
It was safer that way. It had been arranged for somebody from the Ollendorfs to pick her up, but nobody comes.
So is she arrested then? Is she arrested in the park? He shouldn't have left her.
She decides to go. Lily decides to leave the park and find her own way home. There are more pictures of Berlin at the time. Lily moves along the streets, but she loses her way And she goes into a bank, rather like this one, to ask for directions.
A little girl in the bank on her own. They're bound to be suspicious. Why did she go in there? She just asked on the street.
She did go into a bank and she did ask directions, but she got frightened while waiting and ran away.
They had the address, right? That she'd asked for. They were waiting when she got home.
She left the bank, and you must realize these pictures are from all over the collection. This is the most extraordinary thing. Totally by coincidence, an official photographer, a Nazi photographer, is taking photos of a parade. And he's also taking pictures of the crowd. And quite unwittingly, he takes a picture of Lily on her journey home. Because she comes across the parade and she has to stand waiting for it to pass. So we can see her trying to get home.
There she is. It's remarkable. How did you find this?
Oswald found it, of course. When we were given her father's photos, Oswald went through every still we have of Berlin, of that period. And there are a lot of those. In case there was something else of her. It took him ages, but he found her.
Where now people would use security videos.
Exactly. There, by an amazing chance, is Lily on part of her dangerous journey home, halfway there.
Did she get home?
She got home, yes. But the Ollendorfs had been questioned that very afternoon. The whole family was arrested. Even the matriarch. And Lily, too, of course.
Are there any more pictures? Or does the trail go cold there? It can't go cold, there's more.
Oswald went through everything. Every still we have of Jewish people being rounded up. The trains, the stations, the cattle trucks, the lorries. Every image we have like that in the collection.
And he found her.
And eventually, he found this.
Little bundles.
Little bundles. Yes, I know.
It goes on then. From them on the train. Are there any more pictures? Did Oswald find any more?
No more like that, no. But there is this.
No, please, if it's a pile of bodies, I know we can't change history here, but I'd rather not see it. I can imagine too well.
No, Lily did survive.
She did.
It was her son-in-law that gave us her father's pictures. And from what he told us, and from a tiny passport photo that he showed Oswald, from that evidence, Oswald stared at every picture we have of street scenes around the Elephant and Castle and the Old Kent Road, here in London.
She's in this city?
Every picture we have from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And again, he found her. Here is Lily. On the Old Kent Road in 1987.
It's not her. It's not Lily.
It is Lily. I promise you. It's been confirmed.
Showed me these. You told me this particular story because the pictures come from all over the collection, right? The 20th century tale. Caught like that. Marilyn, I'm going to start calling you that because even after a few hours, Miss Truman doesn't seem right. Marilyn, I cannot change my decision. You understand? It is a bad situation. It's very unfortunate, but it cannot be changed. The economics of the situation prevent it. Moreover, you have our pictures. You have stolen, if you like, 400,000 pounds worth of photos.
Not stolen.
Give those back.
You will have them back.
Give them back now and you can have a deal. You can take anything you want from the collection. Anything you can house or store yourself, you can have it for free. Fill bags and bags if you want, a truckload.
I will not split up the collection.
For God's sakes, don't be so proud, Marilyn. You have miles and miles of routine pictures here, of shop fronts and other crap that's in 1,000 other collections. Save what's important, for Christ's sakes. Get to work on it now. Use your knowledge. Save what really matters. You have to compromise.
I said I'd never split it up.
Marilyn, there is simply no alternative. Go on. Take it. Take the deal.
You're right. I have to.
You do. You do have to, yes.
But...
But what?
You must keep all the staff on that want to stay.
Does that include you?
No, of course not. But the others. You said you would.
Yeah, subject to interview.
You can do that now, today.
Now?
Yes, see them now. So nobody leaves here tonight without a job. That's the deal.
The hotel's fine. No.
Don't do this, man.
No, I have not stayed there before.
These are our big weapon. What are you doing? Handing them back.
They've served their purpose. I don't think we can play any more games with them.
Games? So you think everything's going to be hunky-dory after this, do you? You think those robots in there are going to stick to their word?
I assure you, I'm going to make them.
Oh, yeah?
And what's more, they're not robots.
They're getting to you. May I have one last look? It's odd, isn't it? How much money one or two pictures are worth.
Oswald!
We should not be cooperating. Total non-compliance. That's who we should be fighting. I promise you, it'll work.
No. It's time to cooperate. We have to.
You mean like tearing the collection to pieces, which you're about to do? Wrecking it?
We have to salvage something. And do me a favour, Oswald, please. When they talk to you, try to be reasonable.
What skills do I have?
Yes. What do you think your strengths are?
Well, working here, you must understand. Working here, it's different. I can tell you about... What can I tell you? I can tell you, for instance, how many pictures we've got of alligators being cut open with human remains inside. We've 7 of those. Not sure that's the sort of skills you mean, is it?
I don't say very much, you know. I never said much before I came to work here. But now I say even less.
Why is that? Do you know why that's happening?
I think that's all I have to say on the subject.
It's amazing. How when you're stoned, these pictures come back to life. What patterns form in the night. You've no idea what it's like at night. Oh, I mean, I know it's dark now, but I'm talking very late. And when you're really, really stoned, what you suddenly see then, oh, it's better than the movies. It's better than telly. It's fantastic.
Well, I'm afraid there's nothing interesting about me at all. I just beaver. Well, that's all I do, really. That's all I've ever done. I just beaver away. But usually, people do seem quite satisfied. Yes.
Are you really doing this?
Don't sound like that. Please, Nick. Has Oswald gone in yet?
Just gone in. That's a nice one.
Please, just for once, let him behave himself.
Can you use a personal computer? Can you type on a computer?
You can do better than that.
What do you mean?
You can do much better than that. It's a question, can you type on a computer? It's a banal. You're not going to find anything useful with that.
So what should I be asking you?
I'd ask you, what was a freckled-faced kid in Emporia? What did he want to do when he grew up? What were his dreams?
I wanted to run a business school. No, actually, I wanted to be Paul Newman.
Did you adore your mother?
Of course, yes.
Absolutely adore her, by which I mean, if she left you to go down the street, down Lamonia Avenue for a couple of minutes to say post a letter, were you absolutely bereft?
Well, it depends what age we're talking about.
Well, let's say 25. No sort of question is that. Depends what age.
Excuse me, I was wondering if everything was, well, actually, if you needed any...
No, we're just fine.
Oh.
Where's she from, your mother?
Her family were from Ireland. First generation, from around Skibbereen. The Kennys. I can see you much prefer to interview me.
I don't think so. I'm fairly sure I know enough already.
Mr. Bates, do you really want a job here? Staying on with us?
Do you doubt it?
A little, yeah.
Whatever gave you that idea? Sure, I want a job with you. Anything you've got. Addressing envelopes, unwrapping the junk mail, putting the junk mail in the bin, then taking the bin down with the rest of the rubbish, or garbage, as you would say. I'm game for anything. Excuse me, we just need a moment.
Oh, I see.
Can we start being serious now, Mr. Bates?
I am being serious.
No, you're not. You're just needling away.
I'm being deadly serious. Of course I am. After all, who else is going to employ a jerk like me at my age?
Apart from anything else, you're not answering any of my questions.
Really? I thought I was. I'll try harder.
Good. So you can clear up one thing for me. Why did you reply to all our letters but not tell Miss Truman about them?
There were no letters.
That's bullshit, and you know it.
I don't know if you want me to say in a different voice. Maybe that'll make you believe me more. Like this, perhaps? There were no letters. Is the man lying? Or is he completely insane? Or is he just an arsehole that can't stop farting about? But sometimes, people who break the rules, sometimes, however irritating they are, they can do things that others can't.
Like what exactly?
Like answering the question, can you photograph a lie? Lying is interesting, isn't it? You often think people are lying. But can that moment be frozen, caught there in a photograph? Not like in television programs, like Nixon lying, where it's the whole general impression. But the very moment when it comes out, can a still, mute image catch that forever? As it escapes out of the person.
If we had photographed you just now, would we have snapped somebody lying?
I'm not lying. You're the people who are lying.
We are.
Sure. This ridiculous charade you're doing right now, so that we'll go quietly. You're just computing, and you can politely bring it to an end. You're just doing this to make sure that I don't burn down the building or something like that. Because natural justice will be seen to have been done. I mean, the idea of people arriving at the American Business School for the 21st century And who's there greeting them? Mr. Oswald Bates? I mean, it's bloody ludicrous, isn't it? It's just the image you want to put in your brochure. Well, thank you for the interview, but quite frankly, I prefer to burn down the building.
So we thank you for your time, and we just have to review how our recruitment is going for our London office. How many places we got.
I'm not doing it. The deal is off. I don't care how many other collections have got what we've got. I don't care how ridiculous and dusty and uncomputerized we are. And I don't care that we've got no alternative. I've been responsible all day. Sensible, strong, done what I've been told. And it's gotten me absolutely nowhere. I implore you. It's as simple as that. I have no pride about this. I just implore you to give me more time. See if this huge, clumsy collection can somehow be found a home. Please. I don't care how embarrassing that seems. I beg you.
If we were to give you a week.
Give me a week. Yes.
If I give you a week, and it will need very careful handling with the contractors, I will not allow this to put us behind schedule.
Of course.
And you must understand, there's absolutely no possibility of any extension beyond this. In any circumstances.
No. Okay, I realize.
I mean it, Marilyn.
Yes.
You really think you can find someone to house the whole collection in that time?
It will be a challenge, certainly.
It's Christmas. Things move so slowly in this country at the best of times.
I just have to try, don't I? It wouldn't be interesting if it was too easy.
These are the letters that the Americans sent us.
And Mr. Bates's replies.
He did reply.
There is one very big condition.
Which is?
Mr. Oswald Bates leaves these premises immediately. He has to be out of here tonight.
I know Oswald may seem eccentric and perverse, but he's...
Don't tell me I don't understand him. The guy's a fruitcake. How you could ever let him handle business here, I will never know.
No, you're wrong about him. It's the shock of the situation that's made him behave like that.
He's fired. There is no argument.
If you fire him, it may not be possible to get people to re-employ him.
I can't help that.
It's just... It mightn't be the wisest...
No. I don't believe his threats for a moment. This is what's going to happen, Marilyn, and you will tell him.
I will tell him?
Give him any excuse you want. Just get rid of him. He does not come back to this building ever again. Is that clear? Not a sign.
That's what they think.